have a disease! Stargardt disease, discovered by a German ophthalmologist in 1901, is basically a degeneration of the rods and cones of the retina, meaning it affects everything. Light sensitivity, depth and color perception, taste in music, everything. It's a pretty rare disease. I've never met anyone else with it. But then, I've never face-to-face met anyone with my name, either. And I know they exist. They hold secret meetings and fight crime, like jerks. And like my name, my disease is my parents' fault. Stargardt is a congenital disorder that requires both stupid idiot parents to possess a mutation of the ABCA4 And even then, there's only a 25% chance of their offspring inheriting Stargardts. I have 2 younger siblings who both have 20/20 vision. Fuckers. So there's some basic stuff I can't do. Drive, read unassisted, cross a street, be in the presence of a priest. Due to my visual shortcomings, my hearing was enhanced to superhuman capabilities, which I then proceeded to destroy by frequenting live death metal and basically living under headphones. Now I'm just disabled, but no one ever calls me that, presumably because I don't look disabled without making an effort to space my eyes out and look around the room while people are talking to me. Which is fraught with peril. I've no idea what I'm looking at. I've had several women readjust their tops whilst in conversation with me. I'm not looking at your cleavage. I don't even know where you are. This is how close I have to get before I can see my own eyes. It's been like this forever, and I venture it's affected my personality. As you might imagine, I don't possess a great deal of confidence when entering a room full of people. I'm gonna walk into something, I'm gonna walk into a wall, I'm gonna hit a chair, I'm gonna hit somebody's child. I did that on a train. I kicked a pram. Oh, that woman wasn't happy. I assume. She didn't say anything, it was all visual communication, which good. Or, I may be possessed of too much confidence and greet a total stranger as though we'd been to war together. Too many times. All this has made me apprehensive of interference, as if I know what the fuck is going on. When I was 17, I was on my way to work aboard a bus once with only one other patron, an elderly lady sitting a couple rows back in the opposite column. I was sitting at the front, which afforded me the view of some jackass cutting off the bus, forcing the driver to brake suddenly. This impromptu, wicked, sweet skid resulted in the elderly lady, in an act of unplanned and obscure acrobatics, sitting on the floor, legs splayed out in front of her. I chose not to look at the old lady or the cursing driver, as my squinting, staring attempts to understand what I'm seeing often make people uncomfortable. Instead, I just faced forward and thought to myself, she's fine, she's got this is all part of her plan. If I go over there, I'll just ruin her day. While she struggled to move and said things like, oh dear, and I've fallen. Of which the bus driver wished to alibi himself by stating, yeah, but did you see what that guy did? He wasn't looking at us. It was not until the poor woman said, with a touch of laughter, I can't get up, that I shot from my seat as if cued by my trigger phrase and stepped promptly to her assistance. I lifted her 'neath the shoulders and plonked her back down on her seat. She was heavier than I thought she'd be. I seem to recall apologizing a lot because the action seemed highly intrusive to me, but she was cool and I went back to my seat to begin mentally repressing. Oh god, I was near somebody. You don't understand, lady. I've got stupid pants and I'm proud of them. Soon you too shall seek the pants of dumb. Jesus Christ, imagine if I'd said that out loud. My values changed over time, and these days I consider it more important to be interesting or funny, and I would say that out loud. But my blindness has further-reaching effects. If I could see, I would travel more and almost certainly live abroad. Probably in America, probably in LA, because I'm one of those. But as it stands, I can't negotiate IKEA by myself. And no one will come with me to America. Oh well, internet. Speaking of jerks whose regular assistance I require, my brother, sister, girlfriend, those are 3 different people, and I were once watching a film at my mother's place when suddenly there was a fade to black and some text appeared across the screen. Such is their habit that all 3 of them, my brother, my sister, my girlfriend, began reading the text to me in unison, prompted by my lean forwards and faux attempt to read it myself. The exhaustion in their tones immediately put us all in mind of a preteen classroom greeting an authority figure. Good morning, Mr. Fuck Cunt Douche Faggot. Do they do that in your country? Anyway, the 3 of them didn't make it to the end of the text as they were riotous with mirth. Fuck you, Caspar, they seemed to say. But I fuck up in ways perfectly normal people do too. Like dancing when you think no one's looking and you're supposed to be doing the dishes. I was listening to Fet's Vet, in case you were wondering. Hands up if you thought MC Chris was a girl. That ruined my world for a little while. Now I have to write a rap song from the perspective of an unassuming little girl. It's difficult to describe what it is I see, for I have no comparison. Things are not blurred, nor are they darkened by tunnel vision. In fact, quite the opposite. I rely on overlapping periphery to generate my visual spectrum. Things just aren't quite in focus, for my focal point is about a foot in front of my eyes. Sometimes I find myself not quite looking at things, rather just underneath. Like at the cinema, I'll be looking just underneath the screen. Which is probably because all films are terrible. I have ways around this horrible deficiency. Indeed, I need them to function to the extent that I do. Digital magnification, which is great, but a tremendous strain on processing power, especially when I need to zoom in a program that's already chewing up loads of it. It is also not always applicable, so sometimes I've got to hold a magnifier up to my screen. This happens a lot while gaming. Reading through a magnifying glass for extended periods of time is rife with its own repercussions. So I'm glad I live in a time when audiobooks are easily accessible and not terribly expensive. I travel for free on public transport in my home state, which I make relative use of. I still can't go anywhere by myself. And I also have this! My suspicion is no one can see it, or they just don't read it. Because every time I choose my seats in the cinema, for example, the cashier invariably says, "Are you sure those are very close?" No one gives me a wider berth when I'm pushing a shopping cart, even though I might totally kill them by accident. And people still seem baffled when I ask if they are talking to me. Of course I'm talking to you, I'm looking right at you. Are you? Well then perhaps you can justify a purchase for me and fucking read this! I'm just kidding, I'm usually just embarrassed. I am, however, that furious when people come up to me when I'm contemplative and say things like, "Cheer up, mate, it probably won't happen." Or, "It doesn't cost anything to smile. A smile is free." Done quite a lot of assuming there, haven't you?
Can that seriously happen?
Yeah. Usually they want to be funnier, so they will say the first thing. Assumedly, my reflective zizog suggests the world is about to end and I may have left the iron on. My reaction to these well-meaning but patronizing jerks is the telling of my favorite joke. What do 9 out of 10 people enjoy? Gang rape. Or I ask them if they believe in God. Neither of those is a conversation starter they were prepared for, and they typically just excuse themselves utterly baffled. I was once up late with my cousin Liam. We were watching television when all of a sudden this picture appeared on the screen that caused me to remark, "That's a delicious looking piece of cake." There was a brief pause and then Liam said, "That's a turd." There was a second pause before we both erupted in raucous laughter. There's no cure for Stargardt, except jelly beans, obviously, duh. My understanding is I shan't go completely blind, but it is a degenerative disease, so my eyesight has been getting worse over time. I used to, for example, be able to read and play sports. I am fortunate, however, to be alive in this improved and ever-improving time. Though I am effectively useless, as my buddy Aaron pointed out in high school English when I was commiserating with a bandmate over our hearing loss because of practice, I am not made redundant as a person. I do not have to fight for my rights because of the work that was done by those who came before. Also, as was pointed out by another friend of mine, I'm so white, my name is Caspar. Now I own a Taz cab. Still recording in a massive tin shed though, so I haven't figured out exactly what the optimal settings are. I'ma do this though, I'ma get this fucking right eventually. Like, comment, and subscribe. Apparently it's useful to me.